Well, turns out Sean Payton made the right decision in regards to the Denver Broncos kicking situation. The Broncos kicking situation has come under heavy scrutiny over the past several months, ever since Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos made the decision to move on from Brandon McManus in a salary cap controlling move, although there was also some speculation that Sean Payton and Brandon McManus didn't really gel with each other, but there's no actual proof of that being the case. Ultimately, the Broncos signed Brett Maher and Elliott Fry. They competed for the kicking spot in training camp and the preseason. By the time the competition was over, it was clear that neither one of those guys was the answer for the Denver Broncos at kicker. Elliott Fry ended up getting cut after getting injured in the first preseason game, and then after two further preseason games, the Broncos decided that they did not like what they had seen from Brett Maher. So what they ended up doing was trading a 7th-round pick next season to the New Orleans Saints for kicker Wil Lutz, who obviously has heavy ties to Sean Payton, as well as Mike Westhoff, the Broncos de facto special teams coordinator. So at the end of the day, that move just made way too much sense, especially after Lutz had gotten beaten out by rookie kicker Blake Grupe in an open competition down in New Orleans. Now, in Lutz's first game as a Bronco, he did have two critical misses, one on a field goal and one on a PAT, and the Broncos lost that game to the Raiders 17-16. So if Lutz had made those kicks, the Broncos would have won that game at the end of the day. The move to get Wil Lutz was under heavy scrutiny by the media as well as fans from that point forward, and people were saying that Sean Payton had completely botched the kicker situation. I was also somewhat in that boat as well. I believe you can go back and find a video on the channel saying that Sean Payton botched that situation. But now, here we sit a few weeks later and we actually have some more information, and it really feels like this was actually the best move for the Denver Broncos long term. Wil Lutz, ever since those week 1 bugaboos, has been perfect. He has not missed a single kick or a single extra point, and he nailed the game winner in yesterday's game against the Chicago Bears from 51 yards out. So Wil Lutz has shown that those week 1 issues were all in the past, and that hopefully he's going to be able to bring more consistent level of performance for us throughout the rest of the season. And thus far, it's been a really, really good showing ever since that week 1 performance from Wil Lutz. Now, I know a lot of people are going to want to say, well, how are Brandon McManus and even Brett Maher doing? Let's come over here and take a look at some stats, shall we? So first of all, if we take a look at Wil Lutz stats, 6 for 7 on field goals, and then 10 for 11 on extra points. So overall, Wil Lutz, aside from that week 1, he's been perfect. Coming over to Brandon McManus, 8 for 10 on field goals, 8 for 8 on extra points, so he's had 2 misses as well. And then Brett Maher has had 4 misses. It was pretty clear that the Broncos made the right decision to move on from Brett Maher. 2 misses from 40 to 49 yards out, and then 2 misses from 50-plus yards out. But again, perfect on those extra points. So if you want to say there's one knock on Wil Lutz, he did have that missed extra point, and that really did cost us the chance to go into overtime in that game, and then the missed field goal as well. That cost us the chance to win the week 1 game. But again, man, Wil Lutz has proven that he's gotten those bugaboos behind him for the most part, and that he has delivered high-level kicking play for the Denver Broncos. Now, in terms of finances, if you break everything down, the Broncos basically saved a net of $2 million, making the switch from Brandon McManus to Wil Lutz, and then, of course, you had to give up a 2024 7th-round pick to the Saints. I feel like, at the end of the day, that's probably a pretty fair trade-off. You needed to save some of that salary cap money, and next year especially, man, we're going to have some real salary cap issues. Although Wil Lutz is set to be a free agent, this was probably the best cost-controlling move for the Denver Broncos, and thus far, it looks like Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos got this one right. All right, guys, do you agree with me? Do you feel like the Broncos got this move right, moving on from Brandon McManus and going to Wil Lutz? Although you could definitely argue that Sean Payton got lucky that the Saints were going to cut Wil Lutz, but you could definitely say that Sean Payton got that little element of luck there. But I'm curious about your thoughts on this Broncos country. Drop those comments down below. I would love to hear them as always. Be sure to leave a like on this video as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are 2 free and easy ways to show your support, helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. And until next time, guys, I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.